Today, we're going to teach the backhand loop against backspin. The first common mistake is, should you rotate your waist for the backhand loop? When receiving a serve, you don't rotate your body for the backhand. This makes it much easier to lift the ball. However, it's different for a serve and attack rally. A pushed ball from your opponent won't have a fast second bounce. So, when attacking a push in a rally, you need a slight body rotation to your left. Just like the forehand but in reverse, you generate power through rotation and driving from the ground. You must adapt to the situation, even though both the serve and the return might be backspin. But a serve ball often has a faster second bounce and will rush you after it lands. When the ball is fast and jams you, skip the body rotation and just use your arm to meet the ball in front. If the ball is pushed slowly and you want to increase your shot quality, you must use a slight body rotation. This movement isn't a full waist turn. It's about creating a bit of space for your contact point. Your hips and legs should rotate slightly, then drive forward through the ball. If you only use your arm, you won't be able to generate a quality shot. Therefore, rotate your body and drive forward. This is how you get sufficient power. However, the range of this rotation is very small. The main focus is on keeping a stable center of gravity. Your body rotation must be synchronized with your weight transfer. Second point, I will demonstrate 3 backhand loops against backspin. Let's see which action has the correct center of gravity. The first one? The second one? Or the third one? Obviously, the first one is incorrect. But actually, both the second and third ones are correct. The second style is commonly used by Fan Zhendong. The third style is often used by Wang Manyu and Sun Yingsha. For consistency, keep your body level without moving up or down, whether you're going cross-court or down the line. Keep your center of gravity low and stable throughout the shot. This improves your consistency. When the opponent's ball is rushing you, like on a serve return, keep your center of gravity low and adjust with your arm. Rising up affects your consistency. On a fast, deep ball, excessive vertical movement is not advisable for either backhand or forehand. But for a powerful shot after your serve, your body must go from a low to a high position to release its full power. For example, at 9-9, you prioritize consistency, so keep your center of gravity low. But when you're leading 6-0, lower your center of gravity and drive up to generate more power from your body. Your center of gravity must always go from low to high for power shots. For forehand it's drive and rotate, for backhand it's compress and lift. Your body must be involved in this vertical movement for power. Third point, the spacing for your backhand is adjusted with your forearm. If the opponent's push is deep and fast, I don't use a backswing with my forearm. If it's a slow push and I want to generate power, my forearm will execute a slight backswing. The difference is, no backswing for a deep ball, and a backswing for a soft ball. But in both cases, your elbow position remains fixed. A common mistake is moving the upper arm during the backswing. Pulling your elbow back will cause you to be jammed by deep balls and unable to lift short balls. Therefore, keep your elbow still, the movement comes from your forearm. When the ball is deep, I loop directly forward like this. If the ball isn't deep, I keep my elbow fixed, bring my forearm back for a backswing, and then loop forward. The elbow is always stable. You can't let your elbow move back and forth. You'll never generate proper power that way. Some pushes have a slow flight path but a very fast and heavy second bounce. When looping, you must fix your elbow's position. If the ball is deep, my forearm simply prepares in front of my body. If I feel I can generate more power, I'll take my forearm back. The size of the backswing is determined by the forearm, not the upper arm or elbow. It's not a motion where the upper arm and forearm move together. If the ball is deep, I just use this compact preparation. If the ball is slow, I'll take a bigger backswing, but my contact point remains nearly the same. This makes your shot adjustable. So, don't let your elbow move along with your body. Let your forearm adjust the spacing. Once the elbow is fixed, using your forearm becomes much simpler. Fourth key point, do you find that when you try to loop your backhand with power, the ball goes long? While your racket angle is a factor, I can loop with an open racket face and the ball still won't go long. Let's demonstrate. I'll use the same, slightly open racket angle to execute a successful loop. At the end of my follow-through, the highest point of my racket is here. Now let's look at a shot that goes long. The end point of the follow-through is much higher. The problem is that your swing trajectory is too upward. No matter how much you close your racket angle, the ball will still go long. This happens because you're using too much upper arm and trying to force power without separating your forearm and upper arm, making your follow-through too high. Many players are consistent when looping softly, but as soon as they try to add power, the ball goes out. The issue is your point of force application. It's not that you can't use power, but you must lower the end point of your follow-through. Lower your center of gravity and shift your power generation zone from high to low. This will improve the situation significantly. If you stand too tall, you can't finish your stroke low. You must lower your center of gravity to finish low, which will allow you to apply power correctly. As long as your center of gravity is low, even with an open racket face, the ball is less likely to go long because your launch angle will be lower. It's just like blocking. If your contact point is too high, the launch angle will be too big, and you'll easily block it long. By lowering your contact point, you flatten the trajectory, making it much easier to keep your blocks on the table. The second reason is that you must separate the motion of your forearm and upper arm. When you want to generate power, you can't just swing with your whole upper arm. Your forearm needs to have a whip-like action. First, drive forward with your upper arm, then snap your forearm for acceleration. Together, it's a whip-like motion. If you only use your upper arm for power, you'll make more errors and won't even be able to handle a faster backspin ball. This is because the launch angle becomes too high. Separating your forearm and upper arm allows you to generate power while maintaining consistency. My consistency comes from using my forearm. Using the upper arm leads to errors. The table and net are low, so you must lower your point of power application. Once you're lower, you can hit with more confidence. Then, by separating your forearm and upper arm, your backhand will finally have power. Master these points, direct your power forward and slightly down, not upwards. Then, separate your forearm from your upper arm to create that whip-like motion. Instead of swinging your whole arm, you'll see great improvement. To summarize, adapt your body mechanics to the incoming ball, and decide whether to rotate based on the situation. Another reason why backhand loops fail is a lack of racket head rotation. Let's use the forehand to illustrate this. For example, in a forehand flick, notice how the wrist initiates this semicircular arc. Now, for a forehand drive, the racket head still moves in an arc, but this motion is driven by the forearm. Therefore, for any technique involving brushing the ball, this initial arc is generated by your fingers. When looping backspin, for instance, you must first use your fingers to create the brush, then stabilize your wrist to generate power. The same principle applies to the backhand. This arc is initiated by the fingers, and then the arm drives forward through the ball. Connecting these two motions allows you to generate power while maintaining high consistency. It's the same for the forehand. First, ensure sufficient brush on the ball, and only then does the arm accelerate for power. Your racket head must create an arc. In spin-based shots, this initial arc is controlled by the fingers. Think of it as a compact motion, similar in scale to a short ball flick. After this initial finger action, your wrist and forearm should be firm and stable as you generate power. Then you can accelerate into the shot, ensuring the ball lands on the table. Many players make the mistake of trying to rotate their wrist and generate power simultaneously. Players often ask me why my backhand is so consistent. It's because at contact, I always ensure my racket head rotates to first neutralize the incoming spin. After neutralizing the spin, if I have a good opportunity, I'll use my arm for power. If not, I'll focus on a controlled, heavy topspin loop.